I'm Alex Lemishko, and I'm with the National Transportation Safety Board.
Alex, can you spell Lemishko?
Lemishko.
Okay. Where does the investigation stand right now?
The NTSB just arrived at the scene probably about an hour and a half ago. We were notified by the Arvada Police Department. Fortunately, we had an investigator in the area myself, and I drove to the scene. I only live 2 hours away. So we are in the preliminary stages of the investigation. We're on scene collecting perishable information at this time. We do know that this was a Beech 35 aircraft, 1969 model. It had 6 seats in it. The flight originated from the Centennial Airport about 9:36 this morning, and presumably was en route to the Rocky Mountain Airport for unknown reasons. There were 4 people on board. All 4 were transported to the hospital with critical to serious injuries. Unfortunately, I can't give you the names of the pilot and the occupants at this point.
Alex, there's some ATC audio out there. I don't know if you've been able to hear any of that, where the pilot is describing a oil light that's on,
Sure.
losing power quickly. Can you kind of walk us through what he's talking about and how what he's experiencing
Sure.
is affecting his ability to fly?
It's not unusual for a pilot to, if they're having problems while they're flying, to transmit that problem as best they could to whoever they're speaking to on the radio. It's my understanding, and I personally have not read the transcript yet. My priorities are with the accident scene here right now. But it's from my understanding that there was a report from the pilot that he was having some sort of engine issues, and that he was going to try to make Rocky Mountain Airport. As you can see, he didn't make Rocky Mountain Airport, and from the lay of what we're seeing here, it looks like the pilot attempted to land on a roadway that's next to these houses.
Can you talk about the debris field or anything that you're analyzing
Sure,
on the street?
sure. Yeah, we at first glance we can see that you can see that spruce tree off to your left. That's where the left wing hit first, that tall spruce tree, and then the aircraft did land on the roadway and skidded down the roadway and wound up in the backyard. Apparently quite a bit of fuel was on board, so there was a post-crash fire. And thank goodness for the local response of the Arvada Fire Department to be able to handle that fire and get those people, out safely.
Can you speak about the condition of the passengers? So, are they stable? How is their health now? What is the health report about them?
The last report that I got, that all 4 passengers were being cared for in either serious or critical condition, and that's all I know. And I can't break out who's in critical and who's in serious, but I know that there were some treatments for burns and that sort of thing.
The 4 people were inside of the airplane?
Yes, sir.
Do we know their relationship to each other?
That I'm going to have to pass to the police department. I don't know what their relationship was at this point.
Was anybody ejected from the airplane?
Not that I know of.
Can you talk about the plane itself, what it was and what it's capable of?
Sure, it's a Beechcraft V-35. It's powered by a Continental 520 engine. It's a very popular aircraft in general aviation. It's a 1969 model, and they, of course, originally were built in Wichita, Kansas, where Beechcraft has its factory.
How far are we from, or how far is the crash scene from Rocky Mountain?
Good question. I wouldn't speculate more than like 15, 20 miles,
Okay.
maybe.
And again, that's where he was ultimately
Nearby.
Okay.
I would imagine if you're at altitude, you probably could see it from here.
We heard the plane originated from Centennial, though. Do you know
About 9:36.
it left Centennial Airport?
Yes, sir.
Do
This
you know where
morning.
they were destined to?
Apparently, they were destined to Rocky Mountain.
Can you talk about sights and sounds that you've heard from witnesses that you or your colleagues have spoken to today?
We haven't spoken to any witnesses yet. We're concentrating on documenting the accident scene as it sits to gain any of the perishable information that before the aircraft is transported to a secure facility for further evaluation.
Can you talk about survivability of a post-crash fire? Just how that affects people's outcomes?
As you can see, this had a severe post-crash fire. And like I said, the response of the local fire department was key in getting these occupants to safety.
We know that every one of these crashes is different. Have you seen anything that's unique about this one yet in your preliminary sort of investigation?
I haven't seen anything unique. I haven't been here long enough to uncover anything, really.
Can you confirm adults, kids, male, female?
I can leave that to the sheriff here, and he can answer that question. Can you confirm the adults?
Nice catch. Is there any information you can share about the pilot?
Training's coming in.
Two adults. 2 adults and 2 children.
We know that there was 2 adults, and we're unsure on the other 2.
Okay. All right. So it's early. We know that there were 2 adults on board, and we're trying to confirm who the other 2 people were, whether or not they were adults or children.
Sorry, can you say that one more time?
You know,
We know that there were 2 adults on board, and we are trying to confirm whether the other 2 were actual children or not. And I'm not quite sure if they were the same family or not.
you know
And then
how
I
long
think-
were the airplane on the air before the crash? You know how long were the airplane in the air before the crash?
About 10 or 15 minutes.
10, 15 minutes after takeoff, the airplane
Yes.
crashed.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much.
Can you confirm that the fire started after the plane crash?
Absolutely. Yes. This is a classic, in looking at the aircraft wreckage, it's classic that this fire happened after the crash.
So the rain's moving in. Is that going to impact your investigation at all here today?
We get wet.
Talk about pilot training and him or her trying to find a place to land safely, how the protocols for that, how that works.
If a pilot can't make an airport, if an experienced pilot can't make an airport, they will look for the most suitable place to land the aircraft. A roadway is not a bad place to land an aircraft. It really isn't. A railroad track isn't. A longitudinal area is not a place to land it. So I'm sure what was going through the pilot's mind was, I see the roadway, I need to get this aircraft down, let's give it a shot.
Can you just talk about next steps and how long you plan on being on, the NTSB plans on being on scene?
Sure, I plan on being here at least for the rest of the day, maybe a little bit tomorrow, but fortunately, we have a secure facility in Greeley, Colorado, and we're going to transport the aircraft and all the components to Greeley for further examinations.
Do you know anything about the homeowners or what's going on?
I don't. All I know is they're nice people and they weren't hurt.
If the plane would have landed on the road, do you think it would have ended differently? I know it's obviously impossible to say, but do you think it would have had a different outcome?
Can you say that again?
I know it's impossible to say because we can't predict the future or whatever, but do you think if the plane would have landed in the street, that it would have had a different outcome?
It's hard to say. I mean, apparently he was trying for the roadway,
Yeah.
and it veered off the roadway. Had it stayed on the roadway, maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Alex.
Sure, yeah. Sorry I don't have more for you.